What is up, ninjas? Gajo here with a response to Lee. Lee, what's going on, man? Camera's broken, so you can't see my face, but I'll throw up some pretty pictures so you can at least look at something while you listen to me talk. Alright, so I'm not going to say you're wrong with the whole coming-of-age story for Sorry, but then again, I never really watched the series that much. I didn't like Transformers Animated. I actually thought it was too childish. Even though it had serious moments, it had good, okay storyline. It was just, it was just too retarded. Like, it was almost too childish to the point of retardation. Yeah, it was like that. It got to the point where it's like, God, this is getting ridiculous. So I didn't really like Animated, and the Unicron trilogy for me was, But I do admit that, I understand that the darkness, the backwards ass, not the all happy, skippy, lovey, everybody wins story, is always there. And there's always, like even in like Armada or Energon, there's a few Transformers that, get lopped off. And eventually they either come back or they don't. They're either good or they're bad. So that's why I understand that, where you're coming from. I mean, but, in all reality, I have to step in and say that, I have to put my 2 words in, really. I mean, seriously. And what people seem to not really understand is that this whole Murder Prime thing is actually a very interesting concept because, think about this, from what bits and pieces throughout the G1 series and the rest of the entire series, you learn about the different types of civil wars that have gone on throughout Energon, throughout the millions of years, and that's right, millions of years. And Prime has probably been around for, well, fucking a long time, very long time. There's no actual how old he is. But I mean, he's old, especially with the whole time travel concept added in there. But if you just consider in the G1 series, he's pretty old anyway. So you have to think, gotta think, when you're going to the serious level and people don't like it, is that because they don't think it's possible? That it's not possible for, this planet to have civil wars with each other? Just like our United States had with itself, and some other countries had with us, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's lots of stuff through history where, countries go against each other, lots of wars, but, that's like their past. So what's not to say that think about this, though. If you completely say, well, the Murder Prime thing, well, think about it. There's only 5 robots. I mean, there's only, Ratchet, Ironhide, Sideswipe, Bumbleshit, and Optimus Prime, basically. And Jazz dies, eventually, they have all those other robots rolling around doing stuff. But, in the G1 series, Optimus Prime more or less had an army of robots, He had, everybody at his dispense, scientists, had a base set up, all that great stuff. So it wasn't necessarily needed of him to go in there and mess stuff up like he needed to in the, more movieverse style things. But his, crew was more competent, and there were more of them as well, I mean, there would be certain times where, yeah, Optimus Prime would have to run in and do something, but nonetheless, it wasn't like chop, chop, slash, because the 80s, violence was kind of toned down back then. But nonetheless, think about it. The added violence to all the robots doing, basically Optimus Prime's job, it would be displayed in the new movies. I mean, it kind of balances out, don't you think? I mean, where Optimus Prime would roll to the fight with maybe 6 Autobots in the G1 series or more, and the Decepticons would have, the 3 Seekers, Megatron, Soundwave, Devastator possibly might be there, you know, then the Dinobots might show up. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was more spread out and it had more characters, but when the movie was trying to portray less characters, then obviously Optimus Prime had to arise to the occasion and kick some ass. So in all reality, I would think that would be the same because, you know, think about the end of the G1 series. Optimus Prime had to do just that, you know, kick some ass. The end of Season 4, where it was very epic and all kinds of hell were going down and the headmasters, and oh my god, it was insane. That's what I'm saying. Like, no one wants to hear the story about Cybertron's Civil War, and that's actually a point to take, that in the direction that Transformers should go, or at least the whole dark and sinister and adding a different element to something but not really straying away from its potentials that it's already, you know, created and the bounds that it's set, would be, you know, making a show about the Civil Wars, about back in the day before, you know, Cybertron became, you know, powerless and stuff like that, up to the point where they fled to Earth, you know. And I mean, that's where you could spin it off into the G1 series, but change it. You know, I mean, really, you could do a lot with it. You know, you could reinvent what G1 was and add an element of suspense into it. You know, since you can take away the 1980s seal of approval, you can lay in some more, you know, drama into it. But I mean, if it's too overdone, you know, I can understand where people would totally hate that. You know, and I understand, because Transformers Prime is really pushing the envelope, but I do understand where they're going with it. They're trying to make it, you know, different. Maybe it was because that was their original story, and douchebag ripped it off from them and made a movie. You know, that's what I'm saying. Just saying. Just saying. But yeah, dude, Lee, I totally agree. I mean, there's everywhere. It's, you know, I totally get it. But I don't agree about the comic books. I mean, it depends on which comic book you read, because some of them were, you know, more laid back, some of them were more evil, some of them weren't. I mean, but I do get where you're coming from, though. So we agree to disagree, more or less. That's the only way I can put it, because you have good points, and I can't not acknowledge them, because most of them are like something that I would totally agree with you on, but some of them, you know, I'm just kind of like, well, you know, and this is my viewpoint, and that's why I like to say things. But for the most part, I would have to say, you know, you're dead on. I mean, you know, people, we need to understand that we can't, like, keep knocking certain things. I mean, yeah, we don't have to like it, but I mean, it is part of the Transformers thing. You know, it is part of the genre. And I think they should really try to get away from like 3D animation. They should go to like the really high CG drawn animation. Kind of like anime. But scale it back a little bit. I mean, it's pretty much in Japan anyway, I mean, for the most part. Anything that would be a cartoon, that is. So, I mean, or China, whatever, wherever they're drawn, wherever the mass production of the cells are done. Either way, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, think about it, guys. Think about it. We need to go back in time, but not to, like, Beast Wars, definitely beyond that. To, like, the point, because I guess that's the future. I don't even get that. But anyway, it's, like, I'm thinking to myself here, like, where do I want to go with this? I want to go and say that, you know, in all reality, if you really want to capture like something interesting about the Transformers, it would be to go back, you know, maybe a couple thousand years, just to really, you know, punch a hole into what's going on, you know, when the Autobots and the Decepticons began forming on Cybertron and all that. That would be a good story, really, it would be. It would also let people know and insight to what would be going on. You know, why is Optimus Prime this way? Maybe it will give some backstory about some characters that would be really fun. I'm just saying, you know. There's all kinds of things that you could get from that. All kinds of different things. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm just going to send it in. Sorry, no video, but I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.